There's a presupposition of NLP which says that every behaviour has a positive intention. Now, on first hearing that, lots of people have said to me over the years, I don't believe that's true. And I'm not saying it's absolutely true. What I'm saying is that it can be a useful way of looking at things. As with all of the NLP presuppositions, we're not necessarily saying that they're true all the time, but what we know is that if we behave as if they were true, then we can get some useful results. So this idea that every behaviour has a positive intention, that doesn't necessarily mean it's positive for the person on the receiving end. It more often means that it's positive for the person who is doing the behaviour. Actually, I prefer to think of it that every behaviour has a purpose. Because when we introduce that word positive, you start to think that there's got to be something good about it. And that isn't necessarily the case. But I think it is necessarily the case that what somebody is doing always has a purpose. So there's a reason why somebody is doing what they're doing. And by the way, let me clear it up straight away. Usually the reason why somebody's doing what they're doing is not solely for the purpose of irritating you, unless they're your best friend, of course. So most people will do things for a good reason. And what tends to happen is that, especially in the business world, people often kind of annoy each other and rub each other up the wrong way because they're attempting to achieve something and they're going about it in a way that somebody else thinks isn't the right way to do it. So they start to get annoyed with each other. And sometimes they then waste a lot of energy on debating about what's been done and whether or not that was the right thing to do, when really you can gain a great deal by just stopping and saying, OK, what was the purpose of doing that? And if you focus on the end result that a person is aiming for, or that you yourself are aiming for, then that makes it a lot easier to then agree a way of going about it. So as you go about your daily life, have a think about this. Are there times when somebody does something and you roll your eyes or suck in your breath in exasperation, or say to somebody, why are you doing that? Yes, I'm sure there are times when you've done all of those things. Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, well, what's the purpose of them doing that? Have you ever just taken a moment to consider what would be the reason why somebody has decided that's the best way of going about something? Now, it isn't necessarily the case that what somebody is doing is the best way to achieve their purpose. All I'm saying is that the purpose that they had in mind has given rise to that behaviour. And sometimes when you stop and talk about it and say, well, let's look at the end result that we're looking to achieve here, then you can have a constructive conversation about the best way to do it. You can perhaps eliminate some of the things that you find frustrating or ineffective and maybe save the relationship as well. Have a go.